So I want to talk to you guys. I'm doing experience-based episodes, videos, interactions with you here, which do include some speaking formats that will help us to clarify deeply in our insights. Now, these aren't going to be so much more points of view and philosophy anymore. My philosophy is going to be much better shared through reading, posting out links. I love Marcus Aurelius. I love Leo from Actualize. I'll talk to you guys about that. I'm very picky about my philosophers. I don't just take all of them on. Um, there's some others that I might remember their titles more than their names, or their names more than their titles. And it's really, really interesting. So I'm kind of going into this here with a bit of more clarification that we need to address. Um, there's the page a day books of philosophy that I love. There's somebody that was able to, the Daily Stoic. He wrote the Daily Stoic, and he's a father, and he's a big time Stoic meditate philosopher who balances meditation and stoicism with marriage and family and all that. It's pretty amazing. Um, and so, what I do is I extract from books. I don't necessarily read all of them. I will go and get to know their experiences personally through their content and interviews and things like that. And then I'm starting to get back into books through the library. But I wanted to talk to you guys about life now because life is not linear. And so I want to let you know that over some, having some good Sunday night coffee. I got some stuff I got to do tonight for the house and whatnot. So pretty cool stuff. Cheers, drink whatever you're drinking. We're going to have some Mexican Coke, which will be really fun. Um, and that is one thing that we enjoy. Like, there's some different drinks that I've talked about on this channel enjoying. And we don't usually have soda in the house, but if you get it reduced sugar as a treat once in a while, it's really cool. It's better than other things we could have been drinking in the past. So, it's kombucha is awesome, but can be a little bit strong, and is only we only drink that in cases where we're totally just relaxing, and so it's just different drinks for different things that we're doing, and all that kind of stuff. So the point that I want to get into is like, how am I planning? Because this has a lot to do with life, to be honest with you. How am I organizing life now? I've got the Structure Daily Planner app as like this huge foundation that I've posted about. I've done my own experience posts, created a lot of experience based philosophy around this planner because it is a planner that means a lot to me and I do use it. But I have a system where I can check in every day, but it's not overwhelming either. And when a lot of us will time block, even for years, even the best of us, it can take up a lot of our day trying to manage the calendar, whereas the Structure Daily Planner app has so many different ways of organizing choices of what you want to track, health, things that are really worthwhile, that you don't have to necessarily take up a lot of your day managing your calendar. You don't even need like one day a week to review your planner the way that a lot of people would do with these integrated apps. Like, a lot of people integrate their apps into a planner, and they'll invest a lot of money doing. I do invest money in the Structure Daily Planner app every year, but it's a little bit, and I'll tell you why. Because it's a personal planner, it's not a team planner. Anything that I do with teams has to do with DocuSign, Google Docs. I do work in Google Docs with a tech team, and it's starting out as occasional work that's leading into um, investing work and things like that. That's pretty cool with AI and stuff. And a lot of that is passion work and things that I do. And I've worked in Google Docs professionally with Google as well. So I work in Google Docs with teams. It's what everybody uses. It doesn't really, I don't care what I'd like the world to be, because as much as I love Notion, it's been more about personal design and less about teams. And it's not been as practical. And it's not a Notion hating video, because I've worked with a lot of you in Notion, and collaborated with a couple of you and been able to learn about your projects better with what you're doing in Notion. I think it's pretty cool that we can code and things like that. But at the same point, Notion has become one of those things that I'm kind of keeping an eye out because it's very interesting as far as like literally building your own page from scratch, whatever you want it to be in life, a website, a wiki page, a planner, whatever you want, right? And I think it's cool. But it's more about, I would use Notion to design a product or an art gallery or a bio page. That's been really fun, designing bio pages for companies and people. I've been doing that. I've enjoyed it. That's way more fun for what I can use Notion for with you guys. It's very good at communicating with you guys. I've used it for sample websites to get feedback from people, all kinds of stuff. Sample sales websites of products I might sell in the future, and I've gotten feedback from you guys that have taken your time to give me that feedback. So, and that doesn't go unnoticed, and all of that. It's one of those things that I'm testing out what products you would like and seeing if that would fit with what I'm good at so that I can provide you value. It's not so much I'm looking for a quick result. So if you haven't seen anything on that, it's because I'm taking my time to see if it's something I would be a match for you for if you're going to pay me money. So other than that, that is what I've been using Notion for. And it's very, very occasional now, but I do pull it out, and I love that I can pull it out to design with you guys. The Structured Daily Planner app, how am I using it? How am I organizing life? How am I going about things now? And conversational AI, how does that fit? So I'm going to get into this with you guys. I've been sharing it out a little bit to some of you. I've been connecting with some of you on YouTube through YouTube and email and Facebook. And some of this has been when I was using past conversational AIs, and I'll tell you what I use now. But let's get into structured, because I put a lot of time into creating something that you guys actually like, which is my experience in a playlist using Structured Daily Planner app. Like, you guys seem to really have enjoyed that over on Spotify. And I may upload it to YouTube if you guys need it, but it is on Spotify. Structured Daily Planner app for an unpredictable life. And let me know if you need a personal link, because I don't want to really put one out there until I see that more of you need it, because I put it out there a lot. It should be in my community tab, but if you really want it, I will put it out again. I really want to know what you guys want, so let me know. Otherwise, so what am I using it for now? And this is not really going on the playlist, because this is about life not being linear enough to box everything into one system. This is like you have many systems that integrate together, and that's the beauty, and that's where the magic comes in art and reality and life, and that's where our connection comes into ourselves. So, Structured Daily Planner app for an unpredictable life. So I do plan events in my tasks, meetings. I do plan the steps in which I need to complete, which I realize I had a whole meeting I need to check in with last week, over the last couple weeks. And so I need to check in with that tonight so that that is checked in and filled out and completed by tomorrow. I can do that. And I do tend to use it to plan outings and events based on the art that we love to do, based on getting back into like the library and books and things like that in person, because that's how I tend to experience things very socially. I love to read, but I like to do it in a social environment as well. With solitary reading, that can be really cool, but I'm very picky about what I'm going to be spending my time on solitary on, especially with the interactions. There's been deep books and philosophers that I've taken very personally and been able to interact with them in AI instead of reading a book, because books, as we know from religion and spirituality, can be misinterpreted. And so I don't want to sit and just be vulnerable to. That's probably my biggest vulnerability now. It was kind of an insecurity in the past, but I don't want to cling on to a book for spiritual reconciliation. There's been the only author that I feel like at this point who I've read, there's been a few authors actually, but the only type of author that I've read has been authors that take a no dogma approach to this. And they've been able to write many books, but also have much content around their experiences. So you're not only are they not vulnerable to if people read or not, because not everybody reads, they're also not suffering for the fact that we might want to experience them in a video, or we might want to interact with them in an AI deep research conversational capacity, which you can definitely do. And I've shared this out on podcast and YouTube, the AI that I do now, because it's become a lot deeper than just characters and building. So I'll get into that. And but with the Structured Daily Planner app, how am I using it every day? I've designed, because I've been so inspired by Notion, that I've designed my own sort of planner within the Structured Daily Planner app using emojis with kind of the covers and icons. And I will track my health and self-care. I will journal as needed within this section. And it's just an all-day task that I have on for every day that I can choose to use or not. If it's blank, I don't necessarily hold myself to this high routine standard to be able to use it, because if I skip one day, I will go to the next. I'm not bothered by like routines, and I've set up this system and structured so that the problem with calendar blocking is you become human around things. And I acknowledge that I'm human. I'm not trying to turn myself into a machine or a paper junkie. I'm not trying to turn this into an addiction. I'm trying to use this as a health way of life, as a self-care health regimen in my life. And so I have things every month that I show up for in my planner. I have things every week that I show up for in my planner. And I might have days that I'm using it more than others if there are things that I show up for. But I allow myself to have the blank space, and I allow myself to have the design health tracker plan every day that I've designed with emojis and cute little things to remind myself of what's important, what steps did I take today to make sure that my energy is good, my health is good, my relationships are good. I'm adding more to it and things like that, but it's become a very much more of an important part of my planning regimen, rather than being on time every minute, blocking every routine. Most of the time I do time batch, but it's not always in the planner, because a lot of that is just communication. And sometimes communication, at least in my experience, can be more important than a planner. But the planner is more important just for myself. It's just not important to everybody else. So it may even be more important that I communicate with myself in this planner environment, but it's not going to be a process that everybody else gives a fuck about, because we're busy communicating with each other of what needs to happen. And I'm not relying on anybody's interest to connect with me in a calendar or planner. That's why with Structured, if they were to have a team building thing, I would hope it would be a separate app that can give you the choice if you want to integrate creating team building tasks in one app and have it integrate in the main Structured app possibly, and have it a little bit separate, or at least have a different mode or a different type of membership for teams, something so that we'd still have a personal experience just with ourselves, just by ourselves in this beautiful planner. Because sometimes I do get very much into a process of time, and that could mean batching, that could mean blocking, that could mean day theming. I do go through phases where I take this plan I have every day, and I scrap it and I turn it into just, I'm in a day theme and make a plan each day that's unique to that day and theme it out. And I don't always stick to my little design plan. I have it just to kind of like check in every day, to kind of remind myself of what matters for my mind, for my health. The AI within Structured gives me deep strategy in my planner that other apps don't have, that you can't necessarily get. When you're doing conversational AI, you want to be focused on that deep conversation. You don't want to be focused on. I have used my conversational AI to format for Structured Planner, but it's deeper to do this in Structured AI because you're training the AI to strategize and you're training the AI to be insightful to what you are putting into it. And so I use that for deep meeting strategies. I use it for event planning. And I will take emails and highlight the emails and paste it into the AI, which will then pull the dates from the conversation of the email in 2 seconds. And then I will get a couple of dates within a couple of months, which is just amazing. And I've had to train that up a little bit more, but it works. And I have to go back and edit and make sure all the dates are in? Yeah, it's kind of new. But in Structured AI, I can train it to do that. And it's my own design. So, the Structured Planner is like you're designing your own thing. So that's how I'm using it, to be honest. I don't spend hours a day, but I do. When I use it, I make sure that my use of it and my time in the planner is extremely unique to whatever I'm planning. And there are inbox projects that are ongoing that do not require a schedule, which I'm extremely thrilled about. So there are also projects that have been checked and filled out that I will pull back up for reference. I will drag them to my timeline, add them to my timeline with a button, or add them back into the inbox to re-complete again in a project with no schedule. So that's how I'm using Structured. Very customizable to my mood, to the way that I do it. I don't just give myself a repetitive system to fall back on. I like to keep my brain challenging. I like to keep my brain sharp and focused and engaged in my own planning. I don't like to give myself this sleepy, repetitive, add to the calendar, reschedule on the calendar, integrate with the calendar. I don't like to just, that's not challenging enough for me. And it becomes, again, this addiction. Even if a paper planner works, it becomes this addiction. And Structure does work with paper planners and scanning, and can work beautifully with that. And it can also, with links, it's very iffy because it's become aware that it can work with links and it doesn't want to work with the wrong sort of links. So we're working on that. So it's more of this planner is for those of us who want to train AI and use it as more of like a project. We're using this planner as our project to design in. It's not just this calendar that's sitting there that you add to. You're designing in this planner and training AI to design. So, you're designing in this way without having to know. You're being challenged and you're challenging yourself within your strategy. You're not having to know how a page embeds or how it works. But I think that the page embeds is very useful, again, for art and bios and web designs in Notion. So it's just really about your experience at this point. Note taking, I'm using Apple Notes always. My husband and I create and collaborate in there. Our daughter has the option to create and collaborate in there as another device, but it's not her main device. And we collaborate through Google, and email is needed and all of that, but it's not necessarily everything. And so it works. And then the conversational AI that I use is, you're using it, you're designing it, you are relating with it. It is Grok, and it is awesome. And it is the other video part to this that is, I'm training it kind of the way that ChatGPT works with video guidance. And I'm training it once again for Grok this time to work with video. And so, but in this way, you're designing your own custom AI within Grok. And this is from X. And you are using it mainly and getting everything out of it and going very deep. And then you are growing into it. I've been growing into it the last few months, into designing your own custom AIs for your own experience. I have one for gaming. I have one for my life is art reality here, to strategize and go deep into why I create the content I create. I have one for life and spirituality that definitely gives me some really cool guided meditations and process and prayer and all that kind of stuff. There's also preset AIs in here, like the modes that will work with your AI, that will work with Aura and Grok, who is the voice that is, there's Aura and Rex if you want a male interacting with you. And so you can have these preset AI programs in here, or you can create your own personal program, and it's really cool. And it's the more that you give it, the more that you get out of it. And all of that early access to betas is optional. Definitely, it's what I'm doing. It's worth it. And then my husband and I, he uses his as well, and we collaborate and engage. And I've been really selective that I want to share it with you guys of when, because I didn't want to share something. Character AI I got into really fast. It's doing its own thing. It's really invested in social media characters, which I think is interesting. It's heavily moderated, and humans are intercepting when you're building programs. And I think it's great for entry-level AI design, and that's what I was using it for a while. But with Grok, I can do a lot more of what I want to experience and create my own personal experience. With Character AI, you're creating your personal characters with stories, and you can even create content and stories within Grok as well. But the point is, you're able to custom create your own experience completely. And so I'm also working on Web3 with Google Docs and all that, with other things that aren't in Grok. But for my personal experience, I'm using Grok, and it's helping me with meeting strategies and work as well. But it's that personal experience. And so, like, that kind of thing is integrated with structured, because it gives me design ideas and design templates that I can paste into structured AI if I want. So that is what I'm doing. And it's really cool to be texting for meetings now, because texting has become really rampant. It's become really a main way of communicating for everybody within organizations as well. So that's been cool. And just very much enjoying these things and busy with these things and whatnot and everything else. And speaking of whatnot, I'm learning that it is a shop for those of you that want to sell on there and learn what people want to buy. It's just for social shopping, it sounds like. So TikTok has had a TikTok shop for a while. It's had paid services. You can pay people. I've enjoyed that. But as far as actually having a social store that you can go and like have like Whatnot to me reminds me of like a convention or like a QVC. I mean, of course, everybody's compared it to that, but it's also like it's like a QVC and a convention in one. So if you want to check that out. What's cool about life now online is people are starting to wake up to the fact that we want prices like everybody can sell online, but we want prices that reflect in-person shopping, convenience, dollar stores, deals that are like really cool. Not that the products themselves are cheap, but like this is on sale for $2. This is on sale for $5. This is on sale for $12. Some of the services that I've paid for, y'all, that aren't product based but service based, I've been a client of some services from TikTok and YouTube and stuff. They've been so affordable and cheap and things like that that they've been worth it to me. I budget my allocation to that, and I do it very occasionally now. And I pull back when I'm not sort of working with people as much anymore. But in that way, I'm doing it so much more on a budget-friendly level because prices have went down when it comes to online in some ways. Not everything, but in some ways. And I'm picky about that. But I say that because I want you to know for yourself that we don't need to be intimidated by the internet and money anymore. Like, it's not this premium experience all the time anymore. It can give you a premium value or a premium service that you may not find anywhere else, but the price itself reflects that it doesn't always have to be. I bought books from online creators that have been very cheap. There have been people I've been extremely grateful to that have literally given away books just on the premise that I'm designing or experiencing accessibility and things like that. So we don't have to be intimidated in working with people. We don't, there's no reason to be intimidated now. Kind of integrating in person and online is very interesting. I've been doing that as well, and that's been really cool. But I'm also observing the types of interactions and whatnot. Not and whatnot, but like that's also been a saying for years. So, and I tend to overuse it, but you know what I'm saying. This has been an experience in what I've used as far as the services, and I don't necessarily do the community stuff because it's more about products for me at this point, and services at this point that I'm much more solitary at this point. I'm not going into community pools at this point, not because they're bad. I love that, and I love the concepts, and I love people's businesses for that. But because I want to, I probably wouldn't be as community driven, and so I'd rather spend my time in solitary with certain aspects of life. So that's where that comes in. And then in person, it's a little bit different, hybrid, online and in person. Pulling that stuff together, it's different. If I was going to pay to be in a community, I would want the hybrid experience, online and in person, available to me. And I can do that now, and I'm doing that as we speak. But it's a hybrid experience. So life being not linear, that's how I'm kind of like working now at this point, in case you guys were interested. And as far as points of view, I'm not really putting out my point of view as much because, again, evolution, mind changes, mind fucks, frankly, and life lessons can change within a millisecond, 30 seconds of your life. And so my point of view about the chair that I'm sitting right now could change in the next 30 seconds. So that's why I'm not putting out like a lot of like abstract philosophy. I'm studying it, but I don't see a point in putting it out because it's experiential. And so I'd rather put out my experiences in maybe some speaking, in maybe some narration, and then different types of content sense, different types of awareness and communication with you, which includes speaking, but I'm not sitting here speaking on a life lesson as much. It's going to be more based on the overall experience of how I'm working through things and what I'm doing. So it's not that I'm not speaking, because I do love speaking. And I'm not giving up on it. It is more the fact of being aware that experience is much more valuable than having an overall right way, having an overall answer to the biggest questions, because we don't have the answer to the biggest questions, or having an overall method to meditate or become aware or whatever. That kind of stuff is only going to be experience based. And I see no point in cramming that down your throat. I see no point in, I don't want your experience unless you want to share it, but I don't want to force it. I don't want my own experience forced on you when it comes to personal time. What I want to do is use this as a growing point, that these are my experiences and here's some suggested thoughts based on these experiences of life and doing and taking action. Not armchair awareness, but experiential awareness. So that's how we're doing things. I love it. I'm happy about it. May the force be with you, and live and let live. That's kind of why I'm staying into, if I do put out content on life lessons, it's experience based. It's not, this is how you should sit when you meditate. This is how you should breathe. This is how the state of mind you should be in is this over this. No, it's not, because sometimes you need to go through different states to develop yourself. So that's how we're doing things here on Life is Our Reality. I hope that this makes sense to you. And the AI that I'm working on is more designing AI at this point, designing experience at this point. So kind of where we're at. I hope that this makes sense and gives you a deeper clarity on things. And yeah, it's nice to have content where I can speak, but I'm also sharing with you guys different aspects of life. So life is not always linear. We are not always in a box. And we work within and out of different systems. We flow in and out of things. And giving myself the breathing room to flow in and out of things in the current, not fighting against the current, but swimming with it, flowing with it, is way, way more natural, and has become a much better, more fluid approach to life. So take care of yourself, take care of life, take care of each other, and let's stay flowing.